In the great savanna land of Akorian, the sun always rose like a bright drum of fire, coloring the grasslands with gold. The people of Akorian were strong, kind, and proud. They lived close to nature, respected the ancestors, and believed deeply in the power of love. Among them lived a warrior named Kenny, known in every village for his bravery. Kenny was tall, with deep brown eyes that watched everything. His voice was calm, but his strength was feared by enemies far away. When danger came, Kenny stood in front of his people like a shield. But even the strongest warrior has a heart, and Kenny's heart had only one home, the young healer named Amara. Amara was gentle and wise, even though she was still young. She gathered herbs from the forest, knew how to heal wounds, and spoke to people with kindness. Her laughter sounded like water flowing over smooth stones. Her hands brought peace wherever she touched. Everyone loved Amara, but Kenny loved her in a way that shook his soul. Kenny and Amara first met on a rainy evening. The skies had opened and water poured down like drumming hands on the earth. Kenny had just returned from a long journey protecting the borders of Akorian. He was tired, wounded, and carrying a deep cut on his arm. He walked into the healer's hut, and there sat Amara, grinding herbs. When she saw him, she gasped softly. "You are hurt," she said gently. "I know," he said, "but it is nothing." But Amara smiled. A warrior's pride is the biggest enemy of healing. Her words surprised him. She came closer, took his arm, and cleaned the wound with warm water. Kenny watched her quietly. She worked with such care that he felt the pain melt away. "Why do you look at me like that?" Amara asked. "I have never seen healing hands move like yours," Kenny said honestly. Amara blushed. At that moment, Kenny knew his heart had chosen her. Days passed. Kenny visited Amara often, sometimes for real injuries, sometimes for small bruises, and sometimes with no injury at all. "Why are you here again?" Amara would ask. "Maybe I have a small pain," Kenny would say. "Where?" she asked. "In my heart," he answered once, and she laughed until her eyes sparkled. They walked together, past the baobab tree, along the river, and through tall golden grass. Amara taught Kenny about plants. Kenny taught Amara how to throw a spear, though she hated fighting. Their friendship grew into something deeper. But Amara held a secret. She had dreams that warned of danger. One night, Amara dreamed of fire, smoke, and chaos. She woke trembling. At dawn, she rushed to the elders. "There will be danger," she said. "I saw it." Later that day, news arrived. A rival tribe, the Nadari, was preparing to attack. The village prepared for war. Kenny stood at the front of the warriors, strong and ready. But his heart worried for Amara. Before leaving, he went to her. "Do not cry," Kenny said softly. "I am not crying," she whispered, though her eyes were wet. He held her hands. "When this battle ends, I will return. Nothing will take me away." "Promise?" she whispered. "I promise." He left with the warriors, and Amara played for him again and again. The battle came like a storm. The Nadari warriors attacked fiercely. Kenny fought at the front, protecting his people with all his strength. Drums thundered, arrows cut through the air, and the ground trembled. Kenny defeated many enemies, but the biggest challenge came when he faced Jorak, the Nadari's strongest warrior. Their fight was long and brutal. Jorak struck Kenny many times, but Kenny refused to fall. With one final burst of strength, Kenny defeated Jorak. The Nadari fled. Akorian was safe, but Kenny collapsed from blood loss. Warriors carried Kenny back to the village. Amara ran to him and cried when she saw his wounds. "No, Kenny, stay with me," she begged. Kenny opened his eyes weakly. "I kept my promise. I returned." "Do not leave me," she cried. For 3 days and nights, Amara never slept. She cleaned his wounds, cooled his fever, and whispered to him with tears in her eyes, "You are strong, Kenny. You must live." The whole village prayed. On the 4th morning, Kenny finally opened his eyes fully. "You look tired," he said softly. Amara laughed and cried together. "You scared me. You healed me," he whispered. "You and your love." When Kenny grew strong, he went to the elders. "I want to marry Amara," he said boldly. The elders smiled. Everyone already knew their love. Kenny walked to the healer's hut. "Amara," he said. She turned. "Yes, Kenny?" He knelt down. "Will you walk with me for all our days? Will you be the healer of my heart forever?" Tears of joy filled Amara's eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "I will." The whole village celebrated. Drums played, women danced, and children sang. Under the golden African sky, Kenny and Amara became one. Years passed. Kenny became the leader of the warriors. Amara became the greatest healer in Akorian. Together, they protected their people and raised children who carried both courage and compassion. And travelers who passed through the village always heard the story: the warrior who fought with strength and the healer who saved with love. Their love lived on, strong like the baobab, gentle like the river, endless like the African sky.